It's 2026 and the Nintendo DS is over 21 years old. And you know what that means? Well, yeah, you can buy the Nintendo DS a beer if you want, but the people who were kids when the DS came out are now in their late 20s and early 30s, resulting in the classic nostalgia price boom that has affected plenty of other consoles before it. Just how much have prices increased? Well, let's take a look. Welcome to Retronomics, the series that follows price trends in video games, and today we're talking about the Nintendo DS, the handheld with two screens in a clamshell that seemed unconventional at the time, but only now has it been surpassed in sales by the Nintendo Switch. The prices reflect that. Nintendo DS prices are 162% higher than what they were in 2020, but then again, all prices are high now. But what is interesting is that while other systems have corrected and maintained some stability, the Nintendo DS is once again resurging in popularity, and it is also affecting the 3DS prices, which I'll go into in a future video. Before we get into price trends, if you like this type of content and want to help out the channel, please like the video, subscribe if you're new, and share it on social media. It's completely free and content on this channel will always remain free. However, if you have a few bucks laying around and want to support the channel that way, well, you can buy me a coffee or super thanks. Or if you want something tangible, check out my eBay shop where you can use Retronomics 10 for 10% off anything in the store for the remainder of 2026. With that out of the way, let's get into some price trends. Prices for the Nintendo DS performed about the same as almost every other console in 2020 through 2023, but unlike most consoles, the closure of the eShop for the 3DS in 2024 caused DS prices to jump 24%. And this led to a correction of sorts in 2025 where prices dropped 10%, and I say of sorts because prices are still up 162% overall since the start of 2020. The drop came at the end of 2025 with a price drop in October and November with a slight increase in December, and this is likely contributed to the increase in sales during the last few months, which were the highest they've been since price charting started offering that data in 2021. The first month of 2026 shows a little bit of growth. Prices are up just a smidge, 0.7%, but of course we only have a full month of data and it illustrates why it covers a larger range, and price charting doesn't update their prices daily anyway. The list of top 25 listings that sold the most is not surprising at all. Pokémon, Mario, and Zelda top the list, with Plants vs. Zombies being an interesting member of this list. The game jumped 58% this year in price, but it's still relatively inexpensive at under $30. The most expensive games on this list are Pokemon games, which, surprise, maybe I should do a Pokemon episode. Pokemon is the one franchise that I can't get into no matter how hard I try. Even when the Game Boy games were inexpensive, I just really couldn't get into that game. But then again, I'm not really an RPG guy, which is good for my wallet because I don't know if I could stomach the prices y'all are paying on these particular titles. And that seems to be the overall driving factor of the Nintendo DS popularity, that and the console itself. Even today, the majority of the listings for the Nintendo DS can be had for less than $50, and this is something that you'll notice across most platforms. There becomes a point where the heavy hitters, as we call them, reach a plateau, and collectors and newcomers will see those prices and shift their focus to the less expensive titles, because let's be honest, there are still a ton of great games to be had for the system that aren't super expensive. Especially if you aren't into RPGs. The Nintendo DS has a ton of cool games that take advantage of the dual screen, and even the ones that don't are still a lot of fun to play, and they aren't as rare as the RPGs because that's what a lot of people like to play. They aren't all bangers, of course. Cory in the House, the greatest anime of all time, is a meme game that accrued in value the first month of the year, and you could check out a video I made about that one. But the hype was short-lived and the price will soon be back down to a more reasonable, memeable level. Looking at games that increased the most in 2025 regardless of sales, you see some wild swings. Hello Kitty took the #1 spot, increasing 600% with only one sale reported by price charting. And I say that because the red Mario DS limited edition reports 0 sales but still rose in price in the middle of the year. And when you actually look at the listing on price charting, there were 2 CIB listings that moved the needle. And this is one of the reasons why I don't particularly put stock in price charting's prices, just the trends that cause those prices. When you set the filter to at least 50 sales in 2025, there are 4 systems on that list, rising an average of 60%, with the XL Midnight Blue Edition increasing 66% with 567 sales for the year. Metroid Prime Hunters and Pinball are on this list, likely due to the Metroid Prime 4 release, but what really surprised me was Wizard of Oz Beyond the Yellow Brick Road jumping 87% from $109 to $204. There was a spike in between February and March of 2025 where the game reached a peak of $290, and I initially thought it was because of Wicked's popularity, but it's also made by Xseed and it's an RPG made by Mediavision, the same team beyond another beloved RPG, Wild Arms. The game had already been fairly expensive during the price boom of 2020, but this was just a perfect storm of Twitter buzz, plus Wizard of Oz fans and overall game rarity. The game has since settled in price, but I don't think that we're going to go see the price drop anytime soon. Looking at the games that lost the most value in 2025, nothing really wild seems to stick out to me. I had to look some of these games up. Infinite Space seems like a playable novel, and Izuma Legend of the Unemployed Ninja is an RPG. These games are likely to have boomed during the Nintendo DS shutdown, and now that the FOMO has worn out, these games are correcting in value. But that's not to say that there aren't notable titles. Dragon Ball, Mario and Luigi, and Mega Man are on this chart, but when the average price of these games on this list are at $27, the price drops aren't as significant, but they are notable nonetheless. Given the previous year, I think we'll see prices increase just a bit in the next few months, but I don't think that'll be something significant overall. Again, that doesn't really rule out individual titles that we've seen with The Wizard of Oz last year and Cory in a House this year, and that's not something that we can usually predict. What I will tell you is that if you are someone who's actually playing these games, and if you see something that you like and you have the budget to buy it, you should do it sooner rather than later. Not because I think that we're going to go see a skyrocket in price, it's just that the bulk of these listings that jumped in price only did so by $1 to $5, so I think that you'll be safe. The sales will remain high as long as Pokémon remains popular and DS games remain legally exclusive on the handheld. There are rumors that Nintendo is working on a way to integrate it into the Nintendo Switch, but given how it took so long for them to bring GameCube to the Nintendo Switch Online, I'm not counting on that solution to come in 2026, if at all. We are seeing dual screen emulation devices come to the market, and one is even under $100, cheaper than a lot of the desirable official handhelds for sure. It's been my long held opinion that emulation drives the physical market. You can load a ton of games that look interesting on your memory card and then buy physical versions of your favorites. And while it's possible to get a flash cart since the DS came out, let's be honest, the screen resolution and brightness of even the later models is a tough sell in 2026, and you might say that that contradicts my previous point, but be honest, how many games have you purchased to keep on the shelf while you play a more convenient option? Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'm going to be working on the 3DS video to present next, and then focus on some other consoles. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Nick, and I'll see you next time.